The Koreans make crazy vampire movies.
They just make crazy movies in general. Yeah. Or at least Chan-wook Park or Park Chan-wook, whichever way you're supposed to say it. He just makes crazy movies in general.
Yeah, I would say so. Crazy awesome though.
Yeah.
We watched Thirst today for day 4. We're on day 4.
4.
Not quite a weekend.
Nope.
Okay. Had a momentary panic. It's okay. It's over. It is, if you didn't watch it, but you should be watching these along with us.
Yes.
Shame. It is a vampire movie only the way that he could make a vampire movie.
Yeah.
You saw this before.
I've seen this before. I've seen this before. Actually, I think when I first moved down here a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. So
when I first got Netflix, I got it. I think it was one of the first discs I actually got.
Oh, it wasn't even streaming.
Yeah, it wasn't streaming yet. So I got it on disc because I wanted to see it in theater. I think it was playing. Yeah, because it was playing like right before I moved down. I don't remember. Anyways, I've seen it before and loved it. And so I was like, when I saw that it was streaming, I was like, I'm definitely going to put that on the old list for this old month.
And I knew of it, but I never really sought it out. Quirky as all hell.
Yeah, I forgot how funny it was.
It's very
Yeah, I forgot all of that part of it, but
in fact, that plays into my favorite scenes a little later on. Yeah. Well, where do you want to start? What do you want to begin with? This movie.
It's awesome?
It's awesome. Let's pick apart why it's awesome. I think I liked it because of it. It takes traditional vampire tropes. Gotta stay out of the sunlight.
Yeah.
Obviously gotta drink blood. The whole self-healing thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't... I won't say it takes an Eastern approach to it. I don't think that's even what's interesting about it. I think it's just an interesting take on it.
No, because I mean, there was even some Christianity to it, Catholicism. So that's not that's very Western as well. So
yeah, I just liked it. I think I just liked its off-kilterness.
Yeah,
you have this priest who. Was he a vampire all along, or did he contract it when he... That was the one part I was fuzzy on. I get it when he was to that
I always
clinic.
Looked at it as he got it from... He contracted it from the disease.
All right. Because he was the one that survived, obviously.
Right.
Out of 500, they said.
50.
Well, they kept saying 500.
Right.
But I wasn't sure if it was because of like a blood transfusion or something that he had. Which I guess would make sense.
Yeah.
Or if he went there knowing he was a vampire, or just found out he was, because he didn't seem that surprised. He didn't seem that shocked unless you wake up as a vampire knowing you're a vampire. I think it's a possibility too. But he didn't freak out.
Maybe I never. I mean, the 2 times I saw, even watching it tonight, I never would have thought of it that way. But that does make sense. Yeah. That he it's knew
like he went there because his whole MO was helping people. And he wanted to find ways to help people. And so his blood was healing.
He was in sunlight prior to that, though. Because when he first arrives on the island, he's walking up there in the sun.
Yeah, you're right. He was in sunlight.
So it had to have been from the
transfusion.
From the transfusion, or from the injection.
I guess that makes the whole process kind of weird then. It's just kind of what did the doctors think and say? Did they know? Is that what they were doing at the clinic?
I
mean, we're getting really.
And that's the thing. That's because actually, when I was watching it tonight, that was one of the things I was thinking about. I feel like the vampirism
isn't important.
Is not. Yeah, it's essentially
it's
the setup for what everything else happens and means.
Yeah.
So I don't think he was that concerned. It was just one of those things where it's like he went. They gave him this treatment that never worked on everyone else. For some reason, it turned him into a vampire, and now all this other stuff happens. Now we can get to the real story. I think that it's
that's the case. I don't. I'm just nitpicking, right? As I really like this movie quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, then why do that? Then why have him go to a clinic, have him contracted that way? Why not just have him either just get bit by a rogue vampire or something?
Maybe because, there's the scene towards the end where after he, heals the girl, where she, gets sick and... because she essentially contracts the disease.
Yeah.
So maybe it's that, so he has to, continually make this choice to save her. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah. I think you're being too picky.
Am I being picky? It's okay. Well,
you're looking too far into the hat, Adam.
Okay. Well, it's not that. they presented it there, so I was like...
No, I know.
It's kind of odd.
No, and that was one of the things that I was thinking about tonight, too, for the second, seeing it the second time, was... That is a fairly big plot hole for a vampire movie, where it's just kind of okay, he's a vampire now. He's a vampire now. Maybe it was because he prayed. That's none of the other people went there to pray. It was for whatever other reason, and he's the one. I don't know.
Regardless, it's pretty cool. I also found it a strange movie because it is almost like several stories in one. Mm-hmm. So it starts out, you have the priest. It makes all these weird transitions. So the story is focusing on the priest and his need, this drive to help people, to serve people.
Yeah.
And then that transition, which becomes a vampire, of resisting his new nature, which is to kill people, suck their blood.
Right.
He gets creative in how he kind of sustains his undeadness, I guess, while not hurting anyone. Mm-hmm. But then that kind of goes to the wayside once he caves into his lust.
Yes.
For this girl. And then that whole thing, so that whole resisting it thing kind of transforms into a different story with how do you try balancing the relationship with the girl's home life. She's married to a really disgusting person.
Yeah.
What did he have? What was his thing? Some sort of disease.
Honestly, I think
he had cancer, but then he had.
But that's the thing. I think it was some kind of hypochondria.
Okay.
Put on by his mother.
Okay.
Because his mother was constantly making him think that he was sick, and so he just eventually believed that he was.
Okay.
I think it was a way for her to kind of keep control over him.
I would buy that. I would buy that argument. And then at the end of transition, it becomes some sort of... not spoiler. Well,
spoilers, yeah.
His girlfriend, he basically, kills her.
Right.
And then brings her back to life as a vampire.
Yeah.
And then she goes on a killing spree, which was kind of awesome. And so it kind of turns into a slasher movie near the end. She's going killing people. He's kind of gets back to his original nature of what are we doing? This is crazy. We always do this. But at the same time, he's saying, well, actually, if you cut off their ankles and drain them over what do you call them, Tupperware?
Yeah, stored in Tupperware.
I don't know. But even despite all that.
But that's the thing. Every person that he killed, he felt like he was saving somebody. Because the only reason he killed the husband is because he thought he was saving the girl. Because she tricked him into thinking that he was abusing her.
Yeah, she's being beaten when she was self-mutilating.
And any of the patients that were letting him drain their blood, they basically asked for him to do so.
Yeah, I don't feel he killed anyone. At the
right, but
it wasn't a coma because he was.
Well, I think
that story about giving the hungry people
exactly. But I think the one girl that he was drinking at the end, I think that like their exchange made it seem like she was going to die because then he says something to her at the end that's, you know.
Oh, I felt that he did that to her because he knew that. What was his love interest? I can't remember the names. But her, the bad vampire. He thought she was going to off her too, so I think he made it look like he was.
No, not her.
Oh,
I'm talking about the one in,
the one in
the hospital. No. There's one in the hospital before he kills his girlfriend. Before any of that, there's one where he's drinking out of a tube again.
Okay,
and then a little bit later, when he's explaining to his girlfriend, he says something like, you know, I never. They basically asked for me because they can't commit suicide. It's basically he was euthanizing them.
Yeah.
Because they can't commit suicide themselves because of the sin, so he felt like he was saving them. And then even his girlfriend at the end, you know, he's saving her from being a monster.
From herself.
Yeah, from herself. So that's the thing. Every single person that he actually killed was to help a life in some way.
Yeah.
Even when he gave into it, it was only because.
I don't think it's only because
I don't think it's only
because
because
still getting something out of it.
Yeah,
He's still.
Yeah,
it's called thirst. he's still drinking their blood.
Yeah.
But no, okay.
Just my take. Yeah. That's my 3.5 cents.
Yeah. The hardest part about doing this, like right after we watch the movies, like it doesn't have time to digest for me. Yeah. So usually it's like a day later I'm starting to think about it. Like, I was thinking about Santa Sangre some more when just driving home yesterday. I was like,
really? I haven't thought about that movie since
I did. I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? That movie actually, like, stuck with me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure
it did a very good job. Even though I thought it was batshit crazy when I was watching it. When we did this video, yesterday's video. 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Yesterday was Fear.
Yeah.
That one I can forget about. that would double impression. Yeah, it's... I forgot I was even going with that. But I was so bewildered by what we saw that it was hard for me to actually talk about it. So, if we make no sense in these videos, at least if I make no sense in these videos, it's because I'm still in a state of shock and awe from having just watched the movie. I haven't had time to make sense of it yet. But this is one of those movies like Santa Sangre that I think I'll be thinking about next couple days anyway. If not beyond, because we do have awards at the end of this.
Yeah, that's true.
Favorite scene?
I have two again. For some reason I always have.
That's right. There's a couple times where I had none, so
yeah.
I guess they'll start balance each other out here.
My two. First one is an earlier scene. It's when he first kind of comes to the realization that he can't die. And he just walks to the window and jumps out. It's just so quick. Like it's like there's no contemplation. It's like he gets out of bed and he's out the window. And it's like, whoa, wait a second.
He's doing crazy.
You know, and it's just I love that there's no hesitation. Like that's what makes it one of my favorite scenes is because it's so quick. It's just like
in another vampire movie, you might have this moment where he's like sitting at the windowsill,
looking down,
staring out. Maybe having a flashback.
Yeah, exactly.
Looking in the mirror, but not seeing himself.
Right? Yeah.
I'm gonna make that vampire movie.
So yeah, it was the quickness of that.
That was a cool moment for sure.
And then the other one is when the girl is sick with the EV towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And they had painted the house all white, and there's a shot from above, and she barfs and spits out the blood. Yeah. But it's the spray of it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just that solid red spot. Yeah, it's just visually.
This movie's very visual. All of his movies are very visually striking.
Yeah.
There was a motif going on with the camera angles. He likes to move the camera on a lot. Mm-hmm. But everything was high. He took tons. Mm-hmm. Even scenes that didn't really call for it. It was just something. It was like he was detached.
Yeah.
So the camera's way up high. Did these pans where he'd draw out and go way up high. Mm-hmm. even out in the outdoor scenes, it made sense, especially when they're jumping from rooftop to rooftop and stuff. But he didn't even do it in the apartment, in the house. He would do it in the hospital. A lot of the sex scenes were just top down.
Yeah.
So I thought I'm not sure what to make of that, but it's just something that stuck out to me. He's like, there's something going on with these. Really,
yeah. There's always
these crane shots.
There's nothing. Very few things happen by accident in movies.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Absolutely.
Very, very.
So you make a choice as a director. So I'm just trying to. Then you should start trying to connect that to the themes of the film. Like,
right.
What's his meaning?
Right.
Like, why is he pulling out the camera so far? Is it because he's not really in his body anymore? Is he kind of floating? But are we supposed to take it from his point of view, or is this just a cool angle? Yeah. I think it's both. My favorite scene, for the whole movie I was watching, because I always forget about favorite scenes. When I come to record these things, I'm like, I can't think of one. So the whole movie I'm looking for my favorite scene, and actually it came at the end, at the very, very end. And not that I didn't like any other scenes. That I was like, every time a cool scene comes, like, ooh, that's my favorite. Like, ooh, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
But it was the end. It was the whole... Not even the very last shot. Because I think they actually could have done without the actual... them frying in the sun scene, because it was gonna, it's obvious,
right.
But just the moments leading up to that, and this is a sequence of scenes, it's not just one scene, where she's trying to hide herself. She gets in the trunk, she goes into the car. I think it's sweet at first because she's also dragging him in too, and then finally she gives up and just starts trying to save herself because he's having none of it, and then they both get in the trunk and he kicks off the trunk door and goes flying. That's another cool thing about the movie is I'm gonna call them special effects.
Yeah.
Very seamless. I thought it was very seamless.
There were a couple. The scenes you mentioned where they're jumping from rooftop to rooftop. There a couple of moments in there. You can tell it's very digital, but for the most part, I don't know if it was digital or it was wire work. No, there was definitely some digital stuff happening. Yeah, because I could notice it. It wasn't just the wiping out of the wires. No, okay. I'm pretty sure that there was definitely some. That makes sense. But I agree that most of it is very, very good. But there was definitely I think some digital stuff happening in that scene. Okay. I didn't really know. It didn't call attention to itself for me. No. Anyway, that last scene in the movie is just great. It's almost like it felt like a cartoon in a lot of ways. Yeah. To me, like she keeps doing something. He finds a way to stop her from saving herself, which in turn he's saving her. Right. Then after that, she kind of comes to terms with it, and they end up sitting on the hood of the car and just accepting their fate. And then she puts on her shoes. She puts on the shoes that he gave her at the beginning, which is like that was the moment like she was back to herself, even though she wasn't truly herself. So that was my favorite sequence, the end, the climax, I guess. You can call it. I mean, it's a scene. It would be called a scene in the script, so. Okay. Just lots of different shots. Yeah. Or extended period of time. Yeah. Dug it a lot. It's a good one. Yep. I felt long, but I think it's only because I just drove 3.5 hours, actually 4 hours today, and it's late. Yeah. I'm tired. Yeah. But it caught my interest even despite all that, so that's a good film. What do we have on tap? What's our next one? We're keeping with our Asian theme, I believe. Yes, we are. Shutter! The Japanese version. Not the Kiefer Sutherland version. No. I'm pretty sure that's a Kiefer Sutherland. I don't know. Whatever it was. There's an American one. That might be Mirrors. I don't know. There's something. And there's a remake of Shutter. An American. It was during that whole. Maybe it's got the dude from Dawson's Creek. I don't know. I don't know anybody from Dawson's Creek. Some dude. The one that was in Mighty Ducks. No. Emilio Estevez? No. I know the kid. I know. Yeah. The one that had the uncomfortable relationship with Emilio Estevez in Mighty Ducks. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. We have to revisit that movie. Yeah. Maybe we should do a commentary for that. Shutter is a 2004 movie. And it came in the middle of... The American version came in the middle of all those American remakes of Japanese horror movies, starting with The Ring, which was a very good movie, and then all the other ones which were not very good movies.
But we're watching the 2004 version, which is streaming on Netflix, so go watch it, and we'll be back tomorrow to talk at you some more.
Bye.
Get out of my house.